All right, guys, this is part 2 of fixing the Makita multi-tool MT01. You see my previous video before. I don't know if it's going to help you much more, but the deal was, I believe it needs a new switch, but I was able to clean this particular switch. So take pictures and videos of which direction this thing's in. You can see the little rubber housing that kind of bushing, buffers it. You see the notch there right here on the clear rubber thing that goes in the back, and the switch was really dirty inside. It's microsurgery, so be prepared for tiny little springs. Now you see that little tab, there's one on each side right here, and I used a micro screwdriver. This thing's made for eyeglasses. To pry the tab up, I slipped underneath it from this bottom up on both sides, and the cover came off. Now be very careful. This switch has got tiny, the spring is literally the size of the tip of the screwdriver, if not less. And then there's two little plastic parts. Make sure you take pictures before you take it apart. Now you'll see there's a little metal seesaw in there that makes contact to this side of the switch. And that little plastic nubby with the spring in it guides it back and forth and forces it to do the seesaw. Now I just took it all out and cleaned a lot of crud out of there, black dirt and grime. I used rubbing alcohol, which I'm a big fan of because it dries up quick, doesn't smell. I did add back a tiny bit of dielectric grease, tiny bit, because sometimes too much grease just causes the dirt to get all over the place. So be super careful of that mini spring. Now, you'll see that little tiny plastic nubby mini spring assembly, and you'll see, before you take it apart, make sure you understand which side's up, which side's down. Now, from what I understand, the groove side lays in the bottom of the switch so that it elevates it so that it can guide itself through the middle of the metal seesaw. I know that doesn't make much sense now that you're looking at this without, me. I can't tear it apart again. It's just too complicated. Or too micro. I was lucky I didn't lose the spring the first time. So you can clean the switch up. These connections don't seem to come off. I thought they were like, slip-on things, but I think they're kind of like soldered on. So you may, if you do replace the switch, I think you're gonna have to cut the wires, or actually cut this right here, probably this connection here, and butt in a new switch. That's the way I think that works. Well, you might have to cut multiples because the switch goes to multiples, as you can see down here. Anyway, the switch is cleanable, but you're going to be a microsurgeon to the 10th degree. And just take pictures before you pull anything out. And it only goes one way. It's not as complicated as it initially looks, but if you lose that spring, you're basically screwed. So I would do it in an area not like I did with all this clutter. If the spring flies away, I won't be able to find it. Do it like at your kitchen table with a perfect uncluttered area. And I cover it with paper towels. Rubbing alcohol is what I cleaned it with, and go from there. I hope that helps. Again, this is a Makita MT01 multi-tool. It just stopped working. I narrowed it down to this switch. I may wind up replacing it, but I did clean it. It does seem to work pretty well. I appreciate any likes and subscribes. I hope that helps you guys. You probably don't need part 1 if you saw this part 2. Talk to you guys later. Again, appreciate any likes and subscribes. Hope that helps.